Hmm. Well, I apologize. The intro is going to be screwed up this time. Oh, man. Okay. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. I restarted the stream here, but then the intro thing is screwed up. I have now. I got to figure out what the deal is with that. You thought my speaker was broken, says Brandon. Yeah, that's funny. And I probably kicked a bunch of people off by restarting the stream, but I I didn't want all that bit in the beginning of it, so that's fine. Let's go back through the chart, shall we? E-mini. Pretty bearish yesterday, but recovering really hard and nicely. But then fading towards the end of the day and overnight, we're still within the range. I think that they could try and pop out the top of this today, but I don't know. I think that there's still a lot of kind of bearish things holding us down at the moment. Treasuries did move measurably higher too. Now, I don't think that treasuries necessarily indicate flight to safety right now. They're not very good at that. Just because the interest rates are so low, there's like no reason to be in treasuries right now. Oil moving up a little bit higher, and there's still a lot of stuff going on with OPEC. Gold moving down. The Fed chairman, there was a gold bug not getting confirmed yesterday, and gold traders taking that one apparently. And then copper doing okay but pulling back. The dollar looks pretty, it's just getting creamed, man. It's just step down, step down, step down, step down. Okay, so now that we got that all sorted out, I've got to figure out what is the deal with the output. Let's see here. Audio, voice meter, focus right. I don't know. So if I come over here and watch a YouTube video,
This unboxing is brought to you by Aorus.
Okay. So I mute that. Well, whatever. Let's turn on the text-to-speech. Guess I could try doing it again. I'm going to try doing it one more time here. If I come here and then I go here. No, it doesn't work at all. Now we have to listen to that. Now we have to sit through that. Oh. Got the wrong one selected. Which one is it supposed to be? Sound output. Why is it cable input? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Bothers me that it doesn't work. Which one is the correct one? Okay. Nope. What the fuck? I noticed there were comments from a year ago and that was different. Yeah, I had to do a bunch of setup stuff and I didn't want that to be on the VOD. Of course, now we've got this me trying to figure out why my audio doesn't work. Maybe I have to restart OBS for that to work. Well, I'm not going to do that. Anyways. E-mini experiencing a bit of, oh, that's interesting. Wait, is that for real? Something weird happened overnight. Let's see. I think that we should come and look at that on the jigsaw. On the jigsaw footprint chart. Now we need a better time frame than that. Interval 30. So was it this 434.47 one? Whoa. Yeah. There was like a significant amount of volume traded in some of these spots for some reason. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Ocasio-Cortez says new Twitter features stress her out. What? Wait, what are the new Twitter features that we're talking about? New Twitter Fleets feature that allows users to post tweets or videos that will disappear after 24 hours, adding to the wave. Why would you want that? Are they trying to beat Instagram? That's funny that they think that that's the thing. You know, like Snapchat started with that whole, it's only there for a certain amount of time thing. And I think that people mistakenly believed that that was the feature that was attracting people to it, when really it was the stories. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. When I left, I thought I heard it coming out of my speakers and back in, but I think we're okay. But I don't think that it will be a ghost town. Here's the thing: is that the thing that Twitter's got going for it is that the media establishment has become so entrenched on Twitter. It'd be very, very difficult to convince them to move over to a different platform. I mean, like, does Zero Hedge have a Parler account? I don't think they do. Oh, jeez. So to get into Parler, I have to... Maybe. I mean, Twitter was a thing before Donald Trump. I've seen that to some extent. Oh, is that actually Zero Hedge? I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Yeah, they're not going to have nearly as much activity as they did, that's for sure. But they'll still be like the dominant breaking news and, you know, that sort of thing. Look at that big bid at 111. Oh, yeah. That's true. I don't know if that's actually Zero Hedge. It's not posting the exact same stuff as the Twitter. But whatever. Oh, I thought I closed that window. Now, this other one is kind of, I had never heard about until yesterday. Rumble. What is the deal with Rumble? What is Rumble? Meet the video platform Trump supporters are flocking to. The conservative social network Trump users are jumping ship from Facebook and Twitter to. Now there's an app that's seeing additional platform users jump ship as well. The app is called Rumble, and it's a video sharing website similar to YouTube that's seeing a huge surge in user growth. But why that one? Let's see here. Rumble makes it easier for content creators to make money as the service isn't limited to ad-based revenue for content creators. Revenue take and other fixed payments depend on just how much ownership rights the video content creator is willing to give up. And while it's unlikely brands will license politically sensitive and incendiary content, conservative content makers can earn cash other ways. If a video makes it to the front page, they get $100 a pop. Whoa. And keep in mind that Rumble doesn't seem to monitor videos as much as YouTube does, meaning some creators feel like they have a greater amount of freedom of speech. No, he was the Trump he was the Trump social media guy, wasn't he? He was the one that kind of had like a suicide episode the other month ago. Nowhere in here do I see Rumble's commitment to free speech and content creators and stuff. I don't know about that. Okay, so that's interesting. They just careened down from that 11.5. Are we seeing some informed trading coming in here? Well, I think that I should take it there like that. Them treasuries getting creamed. Now it's just sitting there at 10. I don't know. That's weird. No, I don't think so. I'm surprised they moved as fast as they did there. It might, there's definitely something going on there with the market makers not holding liquidity and a lot of orders coming in and shoving it down. But that could just be that location because it's kind of in the middle and we're still kind of getting started and stuff. Very, very curious though. Oh, I don't remember what it was that I was thinking about. Okay. Now I deleted that other video. Here you go. It's probably a YouTube creator pushing. So there was this guy that was like, he was contesting me on the Top Step Trader video. He's like, oh, I think you're misleading traders. No, I'm not. The chances of you passing the combine are extremely low, especially if you're a new trader. Or not for people. Man, this is crazy. Trading underfunded does more harm than good. To trade micros, you need at least $1,500. Okay, that's not hard to get. and are not for people who do not know how to trade or are learning to trade. Yeah. And you're expecting them to make, trade something with a drawdown of 2,000 and make 3,000, and no. And they're brand new. No. Can you pass it? Sure. I have had periods where I would pass it. I don't think I would pass it every month unless I was using some very risky strategies. They want people who already know how to trade but lack the funds to do it properly. No. You could save up for 2 months and then go and trade the E-minis. Well, I'll just leave it there. I don't even need to respond to him. I do think he's just dead wrong. See, I just don't get this. Like, who are these seasoned traders without capital? I don't get it, man. It really is, right? Sorry, I was playing that so that I could justify him because you guys were a little soft today. Yeah. And trading sim is good for beginners. Listen, this whole argument about the emotions of live trading is practically irrelevant compared to the issue of actually having edge. It's just this ridiculous thing where everybody wants you to trade before they're trying to get all of these retail traders to trade when they literally have no clue what's going on. And it's just so weird to me. I get on TikTok, man. So here's the thing is it is different. You're sure. It's true. The psychology is different. But you worthless to you if you don't have edge. So like I'll be on TikTok, and almost every time that I see a creator posting stuff about trading, I'm like, well, that's wrong, or it's more complicated than that, or whatever it is. So like a good example of it yesterday was like this guy was like, watch the 10-year yield really carefully because that will show that people are coming out of the bond market and into equities. And I'm like, I mean, normally that is what happens as money comes out of bonds and into equities and pushes us up and everything. And the whole point is to shove people out of the bonds. But that's not what's going on anymore. Like people aren't holding positions in the bonds. It's been like this for months. The main thing moving the treasury yields around is supply, essentially. There's so much treasury issuance coming out, and the Federal Reserve isn't buying enough to take it all up. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. It's just like, and it could be low forever. So like when things go down, they don't go into the treasuries and push the yields down. They go into cash. You see it in the dollar. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's this is something that I know that this creator obviously doesn't. But then I always have to go back and be like, oh yeah, but you know what? There are probably a lot of things that they know that I don't have a clue about, and I don't know what they are. Like, you don't know what you don't know. This is I think the biggest issue in trading is that you simply cannot be aware of what information you know and you don't know, and the asymmetrical, the informational asymmetries between different participants is impossible to calculate. You know what I mean? It's like we are absolutely clueless compared to a big banker that understands everything about how banking works when it comes to treasuries, right? And we have no clue what those particular pieces of information are that would be useful towards helping us navigate the treasuries, right? So it might seem like, oh, well, these guys are all clueless, but that's just because I don't know the things that they haven't shown me the things that they would know that I don't, right? Yet, right? So you come over to the back to the combines. It's like people have to develop an edge. They have no clue what their edge is, or what they know and what they don't know, and where they're at. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. Who is this seasoned trader that is underfunded? They don't exist. They don't exist. What it is it's unsuccessful traders that have already exhausted their other money options, or people that are just starting out. And for those people, they're just going to blow money on the combine. And that is the thing that I think is so funny about it, is that it's like the whole point of it is for you to only lose $150 instead of $500. You might as well just be trading it on Sim. You say VWAP bands and envelopes. So I don't know what you mean by envelopes, but I used to use the VWAP bands a lot, and I certainly found them useful, but VWAP bands can lead you into a couple of traps too. I don't know how else to put it. Let me try approaching it this way. What happens in the market is not predetermined. I think that sometimes we go and we look at the chart and we're like, well, I think X is going to happen. And then it turns out a different way. And then you look at the chart afterwards and you're like, oh, no, duh. Like, there was no way that what I thought was going to happen was actually going to happen. I totally saw it wrong. And that kind of presupposes that there was a right answer. You know what I mean? No, what happened was not predetermined. What happened was dependent on what the individual traders decided to do in that individual moment. And so I always see people coming in and saying things like, well, we come like price action, I think, is the worst offenders. Okay, so there's some previous support here. We came back to that support. We're through that support and now coming back to it. So I want to short on the bet that that's going to continue and keep moving down. And it's like, and I say, you can't know because it's not predetermined. And if you go back and you like do a historical study on that, you're going to find that how it turns out is at basically random. And so really what you need to do is you need to find an edge that's specific to that moment to determine what's going to happen there. Like, you know what the news for the day is, right? Or you know where people's positions are, or momentum. Though those are the three things that seem to actually have measurable impact. All this other stuff is like voodoo. And that's what I see. So when I look at VWAP, I just keep in mind, VWAP is an average price. It doesn't tell you anything that that requires anybody to do something. Does that make sense? It's useful, but just be careful, the I haven't been able to find a historical study that, in fact, the way that a lot of people try to trade the VWAP is actually you make more money if you trade against it, instead of going for the bounce. ES is too big for the combine and MES commissions is too large to make workable. Yeah, well, so Harvey Garden, here's how you do it. This is so dumb. Go in and, see what the range is that day, and then make your stop be twice that, and just take out the middle and take a bunch of little trades like that and leverage yourself up. And if you do that pretty consistently in range bound areas, you can probably pass the combine. Now, the issue with that is that you're going to run into a day and you're just going to blow your account in one day. So, like, if you pass the combine, stop trading like that. You know what I mean? But if you trade like that, you can, you're much more likely to pass the combine. Basically, use a risk premium strategy. I like VWAP bands and Keltner channels. Oh, you know what? I've tried doing studies on Keltner channels, and I couldn't really get anything to really work with those. Could show you in a second here what we get out of this. Oh, Kimbo asks, what platform do you use for order flow? I'm using Jigsaw, but I also do a lot of order flow things in NinjaTrader. So yeah, so I have to remind myself which one the Keltner channel says. Let's see here. Oh, is it? Did I get rid of it? I guess I got rid of it. Now Bitcoin is, Bitcoin is now at 1,700? Oh, no, that's where we were yesterday. Okay. Had to think about it for a second. So if I come here and I do the ES on a 1 minute chart, come in here and we'll do Keltner. All right. Mr. Keltner. I think that Keltner is the one that's like, yeah, that's right. So you say that the settings are key, huh? So which settings? Well, and a better question, how do you trade it? So I will show you. I went and I wrote a strategy for Keltner channel. Strategies, bands, Keltner strat. And let's see here. I said if we're crossing above the upper band, if the high is crossing above the upper band, then I enter short. And otherwise, if it's crossing below the lower bands, then I enter long. So basically, I try and enter it when it crosses the band. And I have a different one so one is when it's coming up above the band that I short, and the other one is when it's coming down from the band that I short. Makes sense? Now, let's see here. There are 2 properties that we can iterate on. Actually, let's not do this in this workspace. Let's do this in the dev workspace. Because if something goes screwy, I don't want to have to flip back over. Okay. Just make this tiny so that it's not blocking. There. Okay. So we'll do an optimization on the Keltner strategy. And I had those two different ways of doing it, so I'll optimize on that. And the deviation, we can use a bunch of different values, right? So, oh, sorry. Kimbo asked, how do you actually trade? Just looking at order flow at support and resistance? No. Okay. Can I finish this first and then I'll get back to you, Kimbo? So I don't want to like completely switch on you guys. I wish I had seen that before I got into this. Okay. So let's say do it from 1 to 3, incrementing by 0.25. Thank you. I try really hard, Kimbo, because you're my people. That's what I got. Okay, and then I'm just going to have the stop be 24 ticks. And that'll be really generous. And then the target will do from 1 to, oh, you know what? I mean, I might need to change the way that it does the target. Yeah. Oh, it does. No, it's doing it right. I don't know why the default is that. So anyways, we'll do from 1 to 3, an R of 1 to 3, going by 0.5 on a 10 period. Actually, that's something that we want to iterate on, huh? So we'll do from 5 to 60, incrementing by 5. Okay. And it should give me about 1,000 different iterations. Yep. So now we will go through 1 year's worth of data on all of these different iterations and see what we get. So I got more RAM yesterday, so we should be able to see. Yeah, but it's using a lot of memory. It hasn't finished an iteration yet. It's probably still loading the data. Because I'm connected, it's probably requesting it again. I should have right-clicked and said use only cache data, but that's okay. I use 3 channels, 55 tick, 200 period look back. Okay, well, we can test that too. Okay, now while that's running, we can talk about the order flow bit. How do you trade with order flow? So first question was, is it worth your time to learn how to trade order flow? I would say yes. And here's why I say yes. If you don't understand order flow, you don't really understand what's going on. Now, the way that it works is actually not that complicated. So I will explain this to you right now. When you place a limit buy order, you go in the queue, one of these queues on the side here. So this is the 10-year treasury. This blue column are bids. If you put in a limit bid at 10, then you'll, become the 4,101th person in line. Similarly, if you sell, you'll get put in here. Now, if you want to buy or sell immediately, then you can put in a market buy or sell order, and then you will end up hitting into one of these. So if I do a limit buy, then my buy order will hit into these guys and fill the guys in this queue. Okay, so that is the basics of it. Okay, now the way that the interplay works is this. You think of this as like supply and demand two ways, right? So this is sell side supply. This is buy side supply. This is buy side demand and sell side demand. Okay. So if buy side demand overwhelms sell side supply, we will tick up, right? 1,416 contracts buy into 11.5. That price will be cleared. Then people will start bidding at 11.5 and we tick up. And that's how price moves. Okay. And that interplay is why price moves. I think sometimes people think it's like there's more buyers than sellers. That's not true. There's always an equal number of buyers and sellers. It's just that one side is more aggressive, right? Because the supply and demand changes. Okay. So you could have a situation where a lot of people are really willing to sell into 11, but a lot of people are willing to buy on limit orders there as well. And so they never clear that spot. Price can't move down, right? Similarly, you get a situation like right now, not a whole lot is traded at 11.5, but look, now it's pulled and there's only 200 contracts there. So they can hit into it and tick it up really easily. Although in this case, I think that it's doing that because these guys want to be filled there, but makes sense so far. Just sharing what works for me on an intra basis, not trying to convert anyone. I wish I could understand jigsaw tools, etc. I haven't been as successful with them. And the bands for mean reversion targets. Gotcha. Oh man, it's not running through. Maybe I just need to kill this. Man, that was a bad trade. Oh, did I crash NinjaTrader? I guess I did. Yeah, I shouldn't have fought you there on that ace, but well, oh well. Oh, it was running this whole time and it just wasn't updating the GUI for me. I don't think I was really paying a whole lot of, I don't think I'm really paying a lot of attention. Okay, so that's probably gonna like lag up the stream like hardcore here. Okay, I'm still here. Are you still there? Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, and I was gonna let NinjaTrader die. Okay, so anyways, so then how do we trade it? So here's the thing. I think that sometimes we come in and we want to think, okay, I see X pattern, it does this thing, and then it does this thing, and then that means that it's likely to continue up, and I don't know, maybe that stuff exists. Maybe I see that sort of stuff subconsciously and I don't really know it. But generally speaking, the market is not deterministic, and so and they're always trying to take edge out. So if you're looking for like setups like that, that's kind of like difficult, right? So then where is the edge with the order flow? Well, the edge comes in knowing what the liquidity is actually looking like. So we know, for instance, that only a few moments ago that 11.5 had completely pulled and that like 200 contracts had gone into it. Right? Okay, just was wondering when you were going to stop by. Man, I had a dream about like that my that I was like really tired and like couldn't like was late to the stream 30 minutes. And now I'm already feeling like I'm having a bad day. Jeez. Stop that. Stop it. Okay. You're making bank. I bet. That's one of those things where it's like, just because it moves doesn't mean you have to participate. But that would go to 20K. Well, at what point? At what point? Okay, maybe this is still a dream. I hope not. Okay, so now did you see that turned down? Okay, so 682 traded to push it down at 11 and 2,000 stacked on the offer. There's 3,000 at 10.5, which is what there pretty much always was. Oh, okay, so they traded down in only 1736. Okay, so what is that telling us? There is like the bid that you see, but like not everybody that's there is there for the same reasons, right? Some of those guys are just looking for like a really quick pickup, you know? And if they don't like immediately get executed, then they pull. Other people have been sitting there for a long time and really, really want the execution. Like I bet you here at 10, because that's like the low of the session and kind of the low of the range, that these guys at 10 probably want to get filled. That's kind of like the edge of it. So if I was going to do a range bound strategy, then we know something, right? We know that liquidity providers are kind of pulling and not really holding very hard liquidity through this whole area in here. So I could potentially buy 10.5 and sell 11.5. In order for me to do that, I think I need to have a conviction about what direction things are going, so that I can determine, do I want to buy first and get it in, take it as a long, or sell first and take it as a short? Does that make sense? You with me so far, Tidsium? Zoom. How does it say that? Zimsum? Are you with me so far, Zimsum? So these guys, they're not pulling. Now, sometimes you'll see something where they pull, but then you still see a lot trade there because there's an iceberg underneath or whatever, right? But the question is, what are the liquidity makers, the market makers doing? Why are they holding certain areas and not holding in other areas? Because for them, they don't know what's going on. I mean, they try to know everything that's going on, but generally speaking, their greatest risk is that somebody else comes in that actively knows something, and they trade against them, and then they take all of those fills and price starts ticking against them. That's bad for them, right? So they don't want to add contracts when that's happening. That's why they'll pull, because they're concerned that there's informed trading going on there. Or you know, they think that the trend is down and they're trying to reposition themselves short, which may be part of what's going on here. So like at 10.5, I would expect that quite a bit will trade here on the offer, just because the market maker, if the market maker is long, he's going to be concerned about if it goes 10, 9.5, 9, that could be really bad for him. So he's going to try and reduce his position by offering out at 10.5. Yeah, Tidsium trap traders, right? So yeah, what you see in the liquidity basically tells you, what does the market maker think about whether we're informed or uninformed? Now, the next step is this. And order flow traders kind of do this in their heads, but we've generated a position model. Okay, so this is a thing that I wrote. You can get access to it from speculatorsset.com if you are there's a 2-week trial, and then subscribers to the channel, if you do the elite subscription, then you get access to it. But basically what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, where do they enter and take profits on things as market makers? And based on that, what is their average position? And that's how we get these blue and orange lines. Is that if you were to literally like buy every bid and sell every offer that would make you a profit, your average position would be this line. That's what that means, based on the volume that traded throughout the day. So what do we got right now? Pretty widespread in the middle. So it's not overtly bearish, actually, even though the trend looks down. It's been somewhat bullish throughout the day, but there's a seller's position way down here at 35.88. So that might be a spot to look for as a target, right? That might also be a spot where they might bounce. Although overnight that's a little less reliable. But anyways, you get, so now what we're doing is we're using the order flow to kind of try and determine where positions are. So now if we know where people's positions are and we know what is going on, then we can start making guesses about what will actually happen. Right? I know. Okay, so what's the deal today? Today is Wednesday. A lot of money gets put to work on Wednesday. But we had that really big move up on Monday, and since then we've kind of been struggling a little bit, but it's still range bound. We're on the upper end of the range, so they might be trying to come down to the other side of the range. When I look at, okay, the dollar has been doing pretty poorly, but is actually coming back really hard at the moment. So that kind of tells us something about the risk sentiment. Where is money flowing and everything like that? I don't have any direct news. I don't have any direct news right now. So that makes it kind of hard for me to know what's going to happen, or, and we didn't really, the economic news wasn't that big. We have Fed's Evans speaking at the top of the hour, right? So that kind of puts me more in like a range mode. So, and then I'm watching the way that the E-mini is trading here and the way that the Treasury is trading. The Treasury is looking like that some informed traders are selling it, right? Does that add-on work for equities on Ninja? If you have, best bid, best offer data and tick replay works on it, then it'll work. I don't have that data, so I've never tried it, but just download it, try the free trial and see if it works. It would be incredible. I think it would be incredibly useful on equities. It means contraction or concealment in Hebrew. It comes from the works of Kabbalah to describe the creator of constricting, concealing its infinite. Okay, where'd you get that from? Huh. Anyways, and then I can kind of see, one other thing that I do like to look at is like a Bollinger Band, just to kind of see where price is. So like at the moment, we are seeing a little bit of a rise. So let's just try one here. I'm on my experimental account. It's a sim account. So I'm going to try and take one right here just because that's where it's at. Okay. Probably if we wanted to be patient, I think that we might be able to get like 09. In fact, let's try two and we'll put another one there and see if we get filled. All right. Now that I'm in, what do I want to see? I want to see that I took the trade first and that other people are getting into the same trade after me. So is that what I'm seeing so far? No, right? It's ticked against me. Buys are okay. So now they're now, because of that move up, they're about equal, right? You can see this little meter over here. Number of buys and market buys versus market sells is roughly equal, right? What is the liquidity doing? Are these holding? Are these pulling? Because once I get in, I want to see that stuff develop to show that I was correct, right? And then based on that, I can make determinations, it comes up and then they're holding a lot of liquidity in this 12 area, is that going to make it up to 36.15 then? Maybe not as quickly as I want. So maybe I bring my target down, right? And that's how I use order flow. But the key thing that I guess I was trying to get across to Zitsum there is that the things that I look for in order flow are not necessarily things where I'm looking for it to predict what's going to happen next. Instead, what I'm looking for is what is the conditions of the area? How are they trading certain prices? And I have other reasons to believe that it's going to go in a certain direction. And so I'm using it in concert with those other things. Because it's not necessarily predictive. I mean, maybe there are setups that people have found, but I've had a hard time finding one that's consistent enough for me. Excuse me. Thanks for that rundown. And I should also note that, I can tell you what I know and what I look at. I don't really have everything figured out, right? Sometimes I do well and sometimes I do really poorly. So it's that this morning really enjoyed the stream. Why I only use order flow level 1 and 2. There you go. So what we were saying, Kimbo Matslysis says, I think to predict you would look more at the footprint. No. Well, I've heard a lot of people, I'm really interested to see what the Axia guys are saying, because I think that the Axia guys have this really complicated matrix where they say, okay, what kind of action are we in right now? And here are the different setups, and here's the way that you play them based off of all that sort of stuff. But like I said, they're nothing is predetermined, right? And this is where there's an issue, is that I can look at a current state of the market, but if some guy decides that he's going to buy 1,000 contracts, it doesn't matter what I see. It's like one trader could invalidate your trade, right? Like the way that this works, literally one trader could completely invalidate everything that you're already seeing. Okay, well, there's a little bit of a rise going into the open, but we'll see. So, I'm primarily looking at positions and news to try and determine what's going to happen. Unless it's I see that it's incredibly range bound, and then, okay. So, kind of slow here, but it looks like they're not coming in my direction yet. So, okay, there's a little bit of a buy. How much was that? No. Yeah, let's bail on this if they touch us there. Okay. We're just saying, but if he does, you just exit. Question, I recall you mentioning how Jigsaw does sales around the holidays. How much of a discount have you seen? I think it tends to be like 10%. Like it's like, get a year's worth of live trading for $900 instead of $1,000. Could you explain the concept of playing the queue? Well, you want to be, in a spot where you think that that price is likely to hit and get in. So just let's say, for instance, that I thought that price was about to reverse here. well, it's already gone. You know, I could get in at 10 and I would have a pretty good spot in the line. And then if we tick up, I could just hold that so that then if they come up and they come back down later, I can take it there. Right? Okay. So I'm seeing them make a little bit of progress on the buy side, but I'm still not seeing the delta come in. Okay, so oops. Right there. We'll try. Nope. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Still kind of seeing it come down. Now, remember, we know on our positioning that if they're going to go down, that it's going to be like in the 89 area. So if we start to get this to go our way, we probably want to pull those, right? When I added level 2 via bookmap, or really changed my order flow trades, I found with footprints we never did know why it stopped when it stopped or turned around. Why bookmap as only a company that does equities like level 2 jigsaw for futures? I think that they're working on it for jigsaw. I think that's a major part of why they added charts, actually. Yeah, and I mean, you can do it in NinjaTrader, but it does seem like bookmap is a little bit ahead on that. Anyways, now I want to talk about the Bitcoin thing, because Eric was just talking about the Bitcoin thing. And I feel like if you say that you bought Bitcoin and you were right or something like that, I'd be careful. Don't delude yourself. Like, a lot of what happens in Bitcoin is just randomly being in line with the whales, you know? Shit. Couldn't be worse today, could I? Well, I'm still on the experimental account and trying to warm up here, right? The action is so slow compared to days past. I think that what's happening to me, though, is I'm just so off my game. You know, I think we need to try and get into the flow of it, right? Okay, so I do see that bid there. See him at 3608.25. We haven't seen any big orders in the 10-year today. Huh. What do I have that filter set to? 1,000? Oh, those ones probably came in earlier. Don't you think there's value to gain on Bitcoin if there's another massive bull market? I know it's manipulated, but you can do it now. So again, I really don't believe in technical analysis. Like, this is the big thing. I think that technical analysis is basically like, just because it happened that way in the past doesn't mean that it's going to continue to happen that way in the future. There could be like some structural thing in the market that causes things to happen a certain way on average. But our markets are pretty efficient and balanced. And most of those structural inefficiencies are already arbitraged out. So when I see people go and they say, okay, the last run in Bitcoin, they made, they doubled 4 times. And so this time we double 4 times and that should put us at 100,000. And I just laugh at those. I seriously, I just laugh. Yeah, I can just retire from this alone, so you're good. Wait, I'm not gonna ask you how much. So probably, I think back, I'm like, well, I could have put some into Bitcoin back here, but I didn't do it because I thought that we were gonna get the better price, and it never went down there, so I just didn't touch it. And now it's like, well, I could have done it and maybe doubled my money, but like that really wouldn't be that big of a deal for me. So, anyways. I try and look at it from a valuation perspective. And the theory that I run with is that the reason that a cryptocurrency has any value is because you can transfer it to other people. And therefore, the value of the coin should be relational to how much money is being transacted on the network. And the model that I've been running shows that they're not there yet. Now, we are starting to see the network transaction value increase quickly. They have to sustain it for the model to catch up with it, I guess. So it could be that the model starts to give them a lot more room. But at the moment, the model says that it's dangerously overvalued. So we take that side of the analysis, and then we should just do the investor psychology analysis of it, right? They're all looking for a new all-time high. And I'm going to bet you that these Bitcoin whales are probably going to hold on until they get it. But the question I have is, how much money is actually out there sitting on the sidelines waiting to get into Bitcoin? And they said, well, if only it was a new all-time high, then maybe I will buy. How much money do you think is actually out there like that? You get what I mean? And once we start to get to this spot, then you start to run into issues with like the blockchain getting full up and all that stuff. I'm selling all-time highs for sure, but I think it'll still be bullish after. Well, that's what I'm saying. So, and then here's the real kicker, and the one that I think matters the most, is that there's a very strong seasonality to Bitcoin for whatever reason. I think a lot of it has to do with that, Bitcoin is speculative and they take profits to do their taxes and Christmas and all of these other things. And so the general pattern that you will see is that from about March through the summer will kind of be a relatively bullish, good up move. And then things will really accelerate in the fall, and then they'll sell in December. And so I think that what you will see is you will get a run. I would expect the next run to see some retail mania associated with it. I don't really think we've seen a retail mania associated with Bitcoin's move up yet. You know what I mean? So I would expect to see a retail mania come in first, and then probably another little move higher off of that. And then it's going to be ripe for the profit taking. Like all of the retail money will have come in that will have given the whales the opportunity to take their profits, and then they'll just let it drop. As is tradition. So I don't know how high they can get. I just know that like your risk reward here in Bitcoin is not very good. and I would expect to see a significant decline, something like 20, 50, 80% decline. If not before the end of the year, then within the next 6 months. Okay, well, this long worked out okay. It looks like that in the E-mini there was a little bit of a stop run that didn't happen in the micros. But because I got that trade, and it's not like just running through up at the highs, I'm going to try and take it off here. It looks like they're going to be a little stingy with me here. Okay. I'm all in on that garlic coin. I got a couple $100 worth of garlic coin, apparently. That's my all in. If garlic coin goes to a new all-time high, then I'm like a millionaire, right? Okay, so we're getting an orange candle here. So now I'm thinking, should I switch over to my serious account now that I got a good winner? And I'm just not feeling it. So I think I'm just going to spend all day today on my experimental account. Because I just don't feel the energy. Oh, there you go. I'm not saying I'm smart for buying Bitcoin. I just go lucky and it worked out. Good. Good for you, Air Cages. It just really drives me crazy when it's like somebody catches like one big trade and then they're a guru and they're selling all their stuff and everything. You know, this is just... I think I know a few things. And every day I'm just sitting here going, yeah, but there's so very little that you know. At the moment, what is really driving the action here? I don't really see it. It's pretty rangy and action looks kind of random. I don't really see them building positions or gunning for positions. News, PFE. Wait, what do you mean by PFE? There's Fed 7s at the top of the hour. There's the oil stocks. It's not... I'll sell you my course, buy Bitcoin 2 years ago and keep buying. What price did you buy it at, by the way? Like, if you got it at like 6,000, then that's okay, I guess. But vaccine effective news. Yeah, but there's nothing going on right now, right? American Airlines have adopted rigorous processes to ensure 737 MAX safety. Man, I just feel in my face like, ugh, I don't feel good. Why is that? It's not like I feel like sick or nauseous or anything. I just feel like emotionally... I don't even... Well, you know, I feel like I didn't sleep well last night. So, what happened? Went to bed on time. Woke up at 1. Went to the bathroom, came back, had a hard time falling asleep after that. And then I was having weird dreams. I was having abstract dreams. And dreams that, like, I had a dream that I took like 90 minutes longer than normal getting ready and didn't start the stream until 30 minutes late. And then I was like, my computer was in a different spot. Oh, you know what happened? Oh, I've got it. I haven't told you guys this story. Maybe it's that. That would be kind of weird. Maybe I'm just going through an emotional thing. I didn't dream about the Bitcoin crisis. So let me tell you the story yesterday. So I used to have 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can see there now with the amount of memory that's available. I have more than 16 gigabytes of RAM. All right. So I ordered some more RAM to see if they would improve my back testing. And by the way, it did. I had somebody else test something for me, and that kind of gave me confidence. But yeah, the more memory that you have, the larger of a data set that you should theoretically be able to handle on NinjaTrader. We tried it a little bit earlier, but I think that having the stream going and everything else was a little bit too much for it, even though it was still running in the background. But it didn't run out of memory. It was something else. So I get the new RAM yesterday, and I go and I put it in my computer. And I've got this heat. Oh my gosh, this heat sink. It's called the Dark Rock. It's hold on, whoops. This right here. I've got this CPU cooler right here. It's a monster. Mine's the Dark Rock Pro 3. I don't know what the difference is with the 4. But basically, it's so big that it covers the RAM slots. So in order to replace the RAM, I have to take the heatsink off. And it's not a heatsink where there's like a little thing and you thumb on. No, it's like you put it on and then you have to screw it onto the motherboard with a backplate on the back. Right? Like it's super crazy. Which is a big pain if you're going to install new RAM, right? So I take it, and you have to take the back off. So I take the back off, take the thing off, put the new memory in, put it back on, put the computer together and start it up. And it starts up. Everything looks normal. And I go into Windows and I look at the available RAM, and it says 16 gigabytes of RAM. It says there's 32 gigabytes installed, but you're only allowed to use 16 gigabytes of it. Which is like, well, okay, that's kind of weird and unusual. What's with that? So and a lot of different people have this problem, and it's a bunch of different things. So I try a couple of things in Windows that don't really work, and so I determine, okay, it could be just a motherboard thing, like let's update the BIOS, because I had never done that on this machine. So I set up the disk and I flash the BIOS, and then when it does it, the screen turns off, and then like nothing happens, and I wait like 5 minutes, nothing happens, so I turn it off, and I turn it back on again, and like it'll light up, all the lights turn on, but nothing comes up on the screen. So I'm like freaking out, right? Because I think I just bricked my motherboard. Like, I just bricked my motherboard. How am I going to stream tomorrow? Like, what is this? This is awful, right? And I'm just, I react the way that I react when I'm panicked. I just kind of become catatonic, right? You guys have seen that, or your face just goes, no, man. You're like, oh, this is awful. And so I'm like, okay, let's just take this one step at a time. We'll take all of the RAM out, try it one piece of RAM at a time, see if we can get it to boot. We won't turn it on for very long so that we don't have to take the air cooler on and off. I try one, and it boots. And so then I put them all in one by one, and I get it to boot. Oh my gosh. So I think what happened was that the BIOS update made it so that I think that one of the RAMs was not seated correctly. And so that was causing the issue. And updating the BIOS just made it so that that went from like an issue to like I can't boot. So when I fixed that, then it was okay. Oh, that came down so fast. I thought I had time to finish that story and then no. Anyways, so it was okay, but I was freaking out. Did all that work, put it away, and then relax for the rest of the evening. And I guess I didn't relax nearly enough. I do think that they're going to want to go for more lows. I think they're going to try and tag some of those overnight positions. I'm just not too sure. Well, I could try that, but I really thought like I'll finish my story and then I can go short at like 09 or 08. Nope. So you can see that they're holding liquidity a little bit there at 06. We'll try here in the 10-year. I think that's a better trade. Okay. Okay. So they did execute me, but they didn't really result in a very strong stop run. Not yet. Yeah. So there was a little bit of a buy bid there, but then it comes back down. So buyers either no conviction or just having a really difficult time getting more people to come in and holding a price because they market bought in, but then liquidity providers weren't willing to hold it. They just let it drop back down. That's kind of a pattern that I've seen recently. I don't think it necessarily predicts price, but it seems to be meaningful. Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. 9.5 and 10. I'm feeling a little bit more upbeat. 04 fighting, yeah. I think they're gonna give them a little bit of fight there. It might, I think this scenario that I kind of have laid out, I think we'll have periods that will be like really slow grinds down. Now, on the other hand, it might try and come back up more, so try and reduce my size a little bit so that I can try. Oh man, how would I do this? We do have 2 minutes to the top of the hour. That's a good point. Haven't really been taking advantage of time frames for much recently, have I? Do you play video games? I do. Not as much lately since the baby was born. I spend most of my free time playing with the baby. And I haven't really had a game lately that really caught my attention. I played Apex Legends a lot when it came out, and I was finding that too stressful. Like, I didn't feel like that when I was playing it, but then overall I felt like it was just like frazzled, whatever. Managing your stress is like really important. Among Us is really good. I've seen everybody talking about it, but let's move that. It's a decent amount of volume coming in here when fighting in that area. And we did drop at 09, but it was like... Yeah, it's still a lot of volume trading there in the 07 area. Man, I feel really thirsty. Okay, now that's interesting that they're stacking on both sides there in the 10-year. Well, getting more than just a pullback, I think. Well, I guess I could consider it still like a pullback up to 10, but seems like way too much trading here in this area. Have my stops in a really bad area. I'm realizing. Yeah. Oh man, and that treasury trade just ends up falling flat on its face. Well, I'm wondering. I know I said earlier I'm not so sure if I have a whole lot of edge in here, but those was all a lot of really bad moves, huh? Of course, selling down at the low on the E-mini is, of course, always going to be a little bit of a questionable trade. Well, let me get some more water. Okay. I'm watching it here. Okay. Interesting. So even he's not really hitting it there. Okay, there it went. Should I do that? Okay. Volume profile traders would get their fair share here. I think they would have sold the 3611 as the top of the value area by 3605. I feel like this is one where first let me say what I think is going to happen. I think that the driver there doesn't appear to be a lot of strong drivers. I'm not seeing a lot of buying. We had a lot of really negative action yesterday. The delta and the volume is all negative. So I think that we're seeing a continuation of that. And the trade being really slow here is not a good sign, because that could indicate that they're just kind of slowly swoon down, and then once they start breaking lows again, then people will start to panic. So I think that we're going to trade low. I think, though, that this is one of those situations where, like, it probably does what we think it's going to eventually, but you're probably going to dice yourself up trying to get it, you know? Because I just don't feel great. How many trades did I take? Not too many. Oh, actually, too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's bad. Like, it does it after 2 hours. I hope it's not that long. But, you know, we're coming up on the counter trend period here in 5 minutes and everything. Like, it does kind of seem, and it really does seem kind of directionless, doesn't it? But at least I understood. I'm going to keep playing it here on the experimentation account, and let's just say that we're just going to stick with this. I think one of these could end up turning out really, really well, but I think that we kind of are correctly understanding that we're not on today. And a lot of this might just be me, you know, it might just be me being off for whatever reason. I'm sure I'll go and work out today and I'll feel better. There's also this whole thing with the Michigan Board of Canvas. VIX has a new event, Nemesis. What's that? Oh yeah, that's right. So last night, one of the counties decided that there was 2 election officials that refused to certify it. And then, as I understand it, they basically got bullied into accepting it. Which is pretty awful when you think about it, but... So what I'm noticing is that they're having a hard time reclaiming even the seller's cost basis. It's incredibly tight, and we've already seen some attempts to get across the channel, but it's failing. And that's kind of why I decided to take a short where I did. You can see, you know, I had one sitting out there, and they haven't gone for it yet. Nancy Pelosi is still speaker, apparently. That's unfortunate. We are getting the volume coming in. In this case, we're getting the volume coming in and it's just not going. So it seems like liquidity providers are actually absorbing a lot in the 10-year. Or sorry, in the E-mini. The 10-year, they're kind of pushing down, which I wonder what is the deal with that. I guess we got an auction today, right? 20-year bond auction, 11 o'clock. Big iceberg at 07.5, huh? Breaking: Donald Trump campaign will be filing for a recount in the state of Wisconsin today. No, Nassim Taleb says finally the book is on sale today. It's going pretty okay now. Cut the Knot, Probability Riddles. That's his book. Well, so it does look like so far that the scenario that I have laid out in my head is playing out, but the buyers are not just like dead. They are fighting it a little bit here. So we made a lower low there, but they almost immediately bounced it back up 2 points. So Young Hong, hello. How are you? New name. Thank you for joining us today. I still feel kind of down. It doesn't feel like depressed to me, but I don't know. I think it might be because I didn't work out on Monday. I just feel and I probably am a little dehydrated. My lips are still chapped. I don't know. This is starting to feel a lot like the E-mini of years past. The volatility is really not there, is it? The trend is down, but it's not really moving like it's a downtrend, is it? Do see that the E-mini is seeing a little bit of strength compared to the NASDAQ here today. And the volume is still all sell. There's this big old buy down here. They're being a little bit shy about that. It's really quite tight. Say it's a very weak tick. See, they're coming down to it, but they're not ready to just sell into him. Okay. This is a really interesting in the 10-year, isn't it? I suppose that this could be a spot where they might tick into that big old order at 09.5 and go down further. That's got to be what that guy is trying to tell you, because it's right at the cost basis. Notice that 08 isn't stacking. That's kind of unusual. Did you see the dollar weakened a little bit there, and the Japanese yen is running up? It's already 8:30. Wow, that actually went fast. Market Ear says Diamond shorted BTC. How's that? Okay. So now there's not a huge order there at 09.5 anymore. And they're stacking pretty aggressive. Wait, just in House Speaker Nancy... Oh, reelected, yeah. Democrats elect Hoyer to continue as majority leader. Could that be part of the effect on the... Well, I don't know if that is really in line or makes sense with anything. What Daily Mail says that Ivanka Trump blamed a fart on her classmates when she was a bratty teenager. What kind of newspaper runs a story like that? The Daily Mail does, apparently. Wow. So I'm kind of starting to hear clicky clicky. And it's all over in here too. All right, well, let's bail on that one. Treasuries did tick up there, but backing off already. Huh. to be interesting to see what the Treasury does here at 09.5, if they go through it or if they reverse back down again. So that's like the key spot. It sure is slow. I want to know what the market here is talking about here with it. Says Diamond shorted BTC. Did he? You say something? CoinDesk, still not a fan. So here's gas. Oil is moving quite a bit here. Diamond acknowledged very smart people are buying into the cryptocurrency under the belief that it will outperform gold, US dollar, and treasuries. Let them do that, he said. It's just not my cup of tea. So apparently the VIX is, I just reading here on Zero Hedge that apparently the VIX is now trying to price in the Georgia runoffs. Okay. Do we have a VIX feed on NG? You can get VIX data if you are on CQG. You have to pay extra for it. It's like $7 a month. Or you can just come and look at it on like TradingView delayed. Let's come and look at it on TradingView delayed. So it's a little bit lower today at 22. And it puts our targets at around 84 on the downside and 35 on the upside. Although you can see that we are underperforming it a little bit lately. Because we do appear to be in a period of volatility contraction, so... I don't like the price markers on my charts. Because then I can't see these other values. 36.11, huh? And 3/4. Okay, so that was good. Dalio wondered this week if he was missing something after dubbing Bitcoin a bubble back in 2017. Nothing had fundamentally fixed Bitcoin's weakness as a currency or store of value, he says, and that if it ever became a threat to governments and central banks, it would be knee-hauled by regulators. He has a point. Bitcoin still looks like an asset with a bubble-like price dynamics exaggerated by the artificial scarcity of its 21 million supply cap and holding mentality among its acolytes, who hoard an estimated 60% of outstanding coins. Sure, you could call a lot of things bubbles, including stock markets, blah, 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 blah. We've crossed the Rubicon. Bitcoin is now an asset, but will it take more than a second round trip to 20,000 to truly convince big banks and consumers that it's a stable one? True. Well, I don't think that it can ever. I think that it's fundamentally unstable. And the more fixed the supply becomes, the more unstable it will become, in fact. Do I have that right? How is that? I don't remember anymore. I remember there was a study about that, something about the supply impacts the volatility of the instrument in a way that was counterintuitive. But just think if the amount of Bitcoins isn't changing a whole lot, and then the demand changes because of some sort of economic reason, then you will see more movement off of that than when there's not more supply coming in. So, because it's just even harder to get coins, right? I don't think that it can ever really become stable. Okay, so far this is still kind of like a range-bound asset. Or action. Man, I am like really off today, aren't I? Is it all in my head? Why am I like this? You know what's another thing I get going on is I'm going to I have a deviated septum and I'm going to have it fixed on Friday. So next week you'll see me probably with bandages on my nose. Maybe I'll have them off by the Monday, but yeah. And I mean, I don't think I'm nervous about it, but I've never had a surgery like that before. I probably should be nervous about it, right? Need more vitamins. I mean, I've been taking all my stuff. What did we eat yesterday? Oh yeah, there was a sandwich. I wonder if that sandwich is still. I'll just put it back in the fridge. Too much Coke. No, I don't drink pop at all. Drink what the pros drink. Drink water. Yeah, this is still suggesting to me range bound for the moment. Like that potential tick up there and everything. Your nose will be sensitive for months afterwards. Well, I kind of want, because he's saying like it's just going to take out the cartilage there, and I'm like, so is there going to be a hole there? And he's like, no, because there'll still be like the tissue there, and I'm like, yeah, but it won't be. That's still not right. It's a very exaggerated. You can really feel it. It's like, anyways, maybe I'm nervous about that. I just feel really, really off. And I guess it's incredibly range bound action, so you know. It is kind of starting to look like the buyers might win this in the end. Who was typing in all taps? Walter Bloomberg, smoke seen rising from coronavirus hospital in Moscow. Dave is saying I should stop trading and go outside with the chainsaw. This is really pretty. Well, this is really just incredibly meh. Incredibly meh action. I'm going to take this off because I want to step away again. So I'll be right back. All right. So we're back. Didn't miss much, did I? Man, I have not seen it this slow in the E-mini in a long, long time. Well, we best get used to it. I have had some okay entries and stuff. Let's see here. What's the worst? Some of these didn't go in my favor at all, but 18, 14, 17. So most of them are going, and the ones that didn't, I got out of really quickly. So there was that one that was 11, 11. Yeah, those first ones were really bad. This one in the 10 years since it hasn't moved yet. I'm kind of anxious to get out of it, to be honest. Biden eating away volatility through taxes? Do you think that it's because of expectation of tax? I don't know about that one, because they're not going to be able to change the taxes. But the Federal Reserve, that's going to reduce volatility. My friend fixed his nose, and now one eye goes one way and the other goes the other way. Why would that affect your eyes? That didn't make any sense at all. It should just, you shouldn't even be able to tell. It'll just be this nostril will be more open. Ooh. It's a big iceberg there. So it started to look like, oh, maybe they're going to do it, and then came back. I think it's more about inflammation than the structure of your nose. No, I don't. How would the inflammation affect your eye? I mean, I'm not getting a full-on nose job. Let's just make that clear. This thing right here isn't changing. It's not going to change the outside structure of the nose. The majority of student debt is held by the top two income quintiles. Really? Wait, let's see. Where did they have one of these? Oh, okay. 54% is held by the bottom quintile. Oh, the share of student debt owed by... Wait, so why is this one... That was 29... Wait, how is that? That not making sense. Share of student debt owed by each wealth quintile. Share of student debt owed by each income quintile. So does that mean that the people that are going to be the richest off of it have the most debt? I think that's what that means. Tom Barnard says, oh, so why do you want to fix with your surgery? Okay, so let me try and explain. I have a deviated septum, which means that the cartilage part of my nose has grown twisted. And it's kind of like a bump. Like it's like if you took your finger and just pushed right here and pushed it out, and there's a bump on this side. And the result of it is that this nostril is smaller than this nostril. So like I have to breathe out of my mouth when I sleep, or I have to wear a nose strip. You can kind of tell because there's always a little bit of, right there where I always have the nose strip on. So fixing the deviated septum should help me breathe better. And we were doing it this year because we had a baby and we've already maxed out our insurance. So we want to do all the things right now. I should go and have my elbow looked at too, because I got like this chip out on my elbow, and if I bump it, it really hurts. It's actually feeling really good today. I wonder why that is. No, this is something in the college debt debate that really drives me nuts. Is this guy says, imagine if that income was used to stimulate the economy rather than being pittered away in debt tables. Well, so first of all, it would be considered income and would get taxed. So, yeah, my understanding is that like. Or sorry, I've looked at studies on this, and they do all of the Keynesian, stimulus formulas to see what the net effect is, and you're not getting a whole lot for your money when you forgive student debt. And you're forcing everybody else to pay for it. I really think that the impact that it would have culturally and the resentment that it would create, it would be devastating to society. It's a really bad idea. I think it's 90% inflammation. Well, I mean, I went to a nose doctor and he said, yeah, that's pretty severe. I think we should fix it. In the gym, the powerlifters snort ammonia. Well, I think that they snort ammonia to get their adrenaline going is what that's all about. It works. We'll do that before weightlifting sometimes if we're having a hard time getting all the muscles to fire. You guys are all trying to just scare me. That's what you did. I'm not scared. Like, I should be nervous because I've never taken a surgery before, but it's a safe surgery. My brother's done it. The doctor knows what he's doing. There's no reason for me to be afraid about it. And I don't even need to think about it. They need to call me because I need to know when to go and everything, but I don't need to worry about it. You think that they are eventually going to move higher? Them treasuries getting kind of thick. I have a video about on TikTok. I've got a good little snippet I'm gonna post today about the whole student debt forgiveness stuff. Okay, we'll see what happens, Tom. I've never heard of that before. House Democrats re-elect Clyburn as majority whip. Oh, like there's a new attend. Note that we've made this push up towards the high, and the cumulative delta is still not coming in long. And you would think with it being so close that there would be some stops and stuff. Hmm. Hmm. That baby, he's in the laughing mode lately. He'll do this thing where it's like he knows that he gets a better reaction from us when he laughs than when he cries. So when he's upset, he will like laugh cry. Is that a thing? Angelo, how's it going? I don't know. This is not my best day. I've been pretty much on the throwaway count the whole morning. You know, I was thinking I could take it a little bit and switch it over. Sorry, let me back up. I'm doing great today. No, I'm not. I'm not, but I should pretend I'm not. I am. Anyways. And now it's really slow action, so. But I'm just feeling off today. Fair warning. Let's talk office chairs. Who has a good one that they like? Outside in day, I guess. It could be. The thing that can be frustrating about action like this is that you never know, right? Like it could just break out to the upside here and create a huge stop run and, you know, be really bullish all of a sudden. There's actually more slippage in the ES than in the MES right now. You see how they touched 36.15.50 and this one didn't. That was like earlier on the open, I think. Oh, maybe it's because my thing just didn't reset correctly. You would be one of those stops if we move up to the high. Yeah, well, you know, I haven't really traded it serious today, so I guess that means I've kept my losses to a minimum, right? Danish study suggests masks do little to stop COVID as Iowa governor insists there's evidence on both sides. Is it getting that much more nuanced? It seems to me that masks do slow the spread, but that it's not enough to completely stop it, like some people seem to believe. We've talked about this too many times. Usually gets you guys going, though. You done? How many trades did you take overall? So I thought maybe it was just that first one. Look at that. What the hell is wrong with me? Well, that's interesting. I haven't seen that one before. But like the bids are just holding strong. It goes. My sim stop moved the market big time there on that squeeze. Oh, I finally got that little bug to happen. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll just have to refresh over here and reset it. I'm not so sure that this is gonna hold actually. Oh, look, there's 1,000 there. Like, look at the delta. Look at the cumulative delta on that. Darn, I missed it. I was just a split second too late. The treasuries are pretty stuck in the mud too. Like, they had that significant move down, and then since then it's just been dead. It's funny, I really had things all backwards because at the beginning I was nothing but buy, and then at the end I'm nothing but sell. I'm just backwards. Yeah, there was a pretty big iceberg there and everything. I think that that's what caused that delta there. Sometimes you get this thing where it's like when it starts happening there and like all these robots just start taking it for no reason. And I haven't found those areas to actually be indicative of a direction other than that you probably get a little slip that I tried to take advantage of. But you can see like it didn't hold. And look, the treasuries are pushing down here. And the dollar's getting creamed again. Cumulative delta, I'm on the day. So like the cumulative delta for the day is still at its lows, which happened yesterday. And we kind of got a spike at around the same time yesterday, and then it faltered, right? 5K to take it through 08. It's a lot. Yesterday was lower. I think, yeah, you're right. Because yesterday it was like a change of 10,000 contracts, and today it's about 6,000 contracts. 4,000 contracts since the open. But look at that selling. I don't know. It means you're going to have the market orders really off sides if they decide to continue moving up. Trump campaign files for a recount in 2 Wisconsin counties. Read that one out. I haven't been reading any of the You still want short? Well, the volume sure is sell, isn't it? In it. I guess we could try the treasury again. See if they screw me over again. So my win rate in treasuries lately has been awful. Yeah, I don't have it on the footprint, but there's definitely some divergence going on. But we were seeing the yesterday too, right? I'm really interested to know what's going on. There's got to be some sort of a large hedge of some sort going on. Today, though, it doesn't seem to be affecting the individual stocks as strongly. Keeps me from doing too much top fishing. I sure find myself against the trend a lot these days, don't I? So I got hit in by a lure at 08. Yeah, no, I saw that on that move up. There was like they moved up, and then, well, you can see it right there. Like their stops all came out, and then selling immediately came in, and there was a big iceberg trying to hold it, but Okay, so they took it at 07.5. Still a lot of contracts. Crossed all of the treasuries, in fact. What do you think about the new M1 Apple chip for trading? I'm not sure what you talk about. Oh, I'm using NinjaTrader. Ace used to use Sierra charts. That's Apple Book Pro. New. Well, I'm sure that would probably be just fine. I personally, though, don't see the Apple operating system being very good for trading. I mean, all of the software is on Windows. It's been like that for a long time, so. This is like now that we've had that move up, the E-mini is just dead again. And they take 07 too, huh? And what about 06.5? Does NT have an iceberg indicator on its heat map like PokeMap? It does. I'm not using it, so I have a license from being a NinjaTrader ecosystem member, but I don't use NinjaTrader as my broker. So what I'm doing is I'm running my data through Rhythmic, and I'm just, in order for me to use Rhythmic without NinjaTrader as my broker, I just run it in demo mode. So I don't have access to the order flow tools on NinjaTrader at the moment. But they do have an indicator that will show you bubbles. So you could, on this chart right here, we could get bubbles. This right here is the jigsaw one, and that's where I get the bubbles from. And you can see the bubble at the top and another bubble going on here. This is probably more than just an iceberg, though. It's probably multiple large traders just trading in that area. I guess there's no way for me to know for sure, but it's just that there's, you see an iceberg like that's not like a solid one, that's like a synthetic iceberg. It could be multiple people, right? Record size treasury auction tonight. The 20-year, well, I don't know how much they're offering in the 20-year. I find it really interesting that all of a sudden the treasury is moving the way that it is, though. Oh, look at that. The E-mini finally broke down. Like, if it's all about the treasury issuance from the auction, then why weren't they pushing down earlier, Big offers in it really is. Well, I took that, you know what, this longs is probably in the 10-year bad idea, but I'm not really thinking it through very much. I only took it because of where I saw the liquidity holding it. And that wasn't really, it's supposed to be a very directional play, but it's acting appropriately at 07. I'm just saying that it is a record offering tonight. Yeah. Well, it's always a record offering nowadays, right? I don't know what the amount is and how that impacts things, though. How do you factor that into your analysis of what the price will do during the day? It's tough. Sure, these guys have some model. I don't know though. Just on the liquidity in the treasuries, there's been some spots where we've had 6Ks stacked on the inside, and then they didn't trade anywhere close to that in the 10-year. So I don't know if the offers in the 5-year are telling us something or not. What's at 07? Just that where they were holding the liquidity. I don't play stocks. Squawp. No stocks. Just index futures and treasuries. I honestly don't get, not that I don't get, but I think trading individual stocks would drive me crazy. Because you're always just chasing after hype, you know what I mean? I think that I find that whole game kind of annoying. Yeah, I gotcha. No, we are focused on futures, so that means looking at the index. But, there's disadvantages to looking at the index, right? Like on a day like today, do we really have something terribly predictive telling us which way the indexes are going to go? I don't think we do. Although we're getting a pretty okay downturn here. Taking out the seller position again, and a little bit of profit taking and fighting, but overall still the volume net sell the whole day. Will they push down to the low? Because if they pushed back down towards the lows of the day in the E-mini, then that people could start to panic, right? Oh, I don't know if I'm going to find out. We usually stop the stream here in 10 minutes. Wow. I tell you what, I've been kind of a little bit cautious. Like I thought, okay, let's try trading after the election and see how that goes. And I've had some days that were really good, but overall, I'm still not really happy with my performance. And I don't think that this particular market is incredibly favorable to me at the moment. And I don't think that I understand the drivers here enough to adjust for it yet. Still trying to figure it out. So I kind of understood that today was turning into a rangy mess, but I didn't really fully take advantage of it. I guess if that's what I'm really trying to do, I should be taking out at least one contract off at 36.12. I haven't traded futures yet and started trading in January, but starting to take a look at it. Oh, okay. Well, the advantage to futures is you can manage your risk better, and you can trade small accounts with really big leverage. And you can look at bigger picture things as your edges to guide you. The disadvantage is that there's a lot of random action. And very often you don't have a clue what's going on. And so it's very, very difficult to actually have an informational advantage on the market. So that's kind of what's going on right now. If I was just playing a range strategy and I was just playing for 2 points, I probably could have done okay. Futures are taxed better too. Yeah, that's a good point too. I don't think about those things as much, but for some people that does matter, doesn't it? Still confused with the contract size thing too. Like I heard moving 1 point is a $50 move on contracts. Yeah, so the way that we look at it is number of ticks. So here's the thing, like when you're on a stock, you'll look at what is the price of the stock and how many contracts can I buy because of the price of the stock, and there's this whole thing with that. In futures, you only have to take care of the margin requirement on a per contract basis. So it doesn't matter what price it's at, the amount of margin that is required for you to get into the trade is the same. Does that make sense so far? So you're correct. It requires, if we're doing E-mini, let's say that you can do micros, okay? Because most you should really start out with micros. So a micro, it's $5 for a one handle move. That's correct. 1 point handle. I call them handles because I think that that's more clear. But from 36.12 to 36.10 or 11, you can see that's a difference of $5, right? Or a little even better, 36.11.75, that's 30, and then 36.10.75, that I make 35. Okay, so $5. And the margin requirement is $50 a day, depending on who your broker is. Be careful about the broker that gives you really, really good margin requirements, though. Be careful. Okay, so really you want to think about it in terms of how many contracts am I going to trade and how much risk do I want to take on. So, if I only want to take 4 points of price risk, that's about $20, right? And then if I'm willing to take $40 risk on one trade, then I can trade 2 contracts. Bada boom. So no, you don't risk. So, your risk is how far you let it move, right? So you'll see when I take a trade normally, it'll give me a $20 target and a $20 stop, and then I'll usually move them and get out earlier if I'm concerned about it. So you can get these, every once in a while you can get a real runner. The range is usually high enough that it's really hard to do that on a retail account, but so yeah, sometimes you just get this runner and you can make $200 off of one trade, whereas your loser is normally $10. But I'm normally at the moment doing average loser 20, average winner $40. So what I've been doing lately. The range is decreasing a lot, so this is going to change, isn't it? But that's the way that it works. So when you're trading and you're trying to figure out your risk and everything, you should always just look at how far do I think it can go, essentially. Are you in a trade now? I have a short from 36.15 that I've taken a little bit of profits on. Yeah, let me explain that. So I know that it's a little hard to see because the text on the S&P 500 is a little small. But when I'm in a position, where is it? There we go. When I'm in a position, you see that little red price right there? I'll make a big circle. That price right there, that's red. That's where my position is from, right? And then this column over to the left here shows you your profit or loss at each price. Now you'll notice that my position is from 36.15, but that I don't start losing money on the position until 36.18. And that's because I took 2 contracts and I took 1 contract off. So because I did that, I can move this back to break even, and that gives me more a price risk, or I could just keep it where it was originally, right? So basically, as I take his profits on it, I can give the trade more room to breathe. But you got to be careful with that, because then what will happen is you'll be on your max contracts and you get stopped out, and then you have a bigger loss. Are you using algo? Not at the moment. So you will see me use a what we call a volume stop a lot in the treasury, where I'll say, okay, if this gets below 500 contracts, then I'll hit into it. I have some algorithms that I've written in NinjaTrader. I think that they're all pretty mediocre performance-wise. I have one that I developed that looks kind of good, but it's got some issues. Yeah, I need to keep working on that. But I've always found that my trading by hand tends to do better than the algo. Maybe that's because I just take more risk when I'm doing it by hand than I do by the algo. But if you go back and watch today, I got to be clear also that I'm in that trade from 36.15, but it's a sim trade. And sometimes I'll trade it and sometimes I'll trade it live, and I don't like telling you guys which is which, although for some reason you guys are able to tell. Of course, you'd be able to tell. You saw me put my order there, and you should see it increase. You see it, put it there, and it didn't increase to 2,800, right? So you know that it's a sim order. But I don't think that that's how you guys do it. I think that they can tell by how I'm behaving. Who are the best traders you know? Oh, I don't know. We got a lot of guys here in this room that are really good traders. Gary's a pretty good trader, although he's really trading options, and so some of the stuff that he knows and tells us isn't as useful on our futures trading. Ace has done really well, and he's showed me some of his results, and they're pretty good and consistent. And I don't know how he does it, because he explained his whole strategy to me, and I can't. I've gotten it to work for periods, but I've also screwed myself over with it. I got a couple of guys in Discord that are really good traders and that have shown us their statements before and are pretty good. But the issue with that kind of thinking, because I'm not a mind reader, but I bet you this is what you're thinking. I should find the best trader and copy what they're doing, and then I'll be a good trader too. Doesn't work like that. Because just because they're a good trader and they're doing well right now doesn't mean that they're going to do well in the future. Probably one of the best traders that I think we know that we have publicly in the futures trading community is Anthony Crudelli. And Anthony Crudelli on 1 year pulled $1 million. And that was when he was he had a seat and electronic trading was brand new. And he accounted for 10% of the volume in the S&P 500 mini contracts when it first started. Crazy, right? He pulled in $1 million. But then what happened was the robots came in and took his business, and he lost a considerable amount of it. I don't think he lost all of it, but he lost a considerable amount of it. And the way that he trades now is completely different, right? So past performance is not indicative of future results. And what you've got to do, and what I'm trying to teach, is that the market is always changing, and we've got to find the edge in each market, and we need to understand the market as well as we can so that we can find those edges. Because the more that we know about what's actually going on, what the news is and the economic structure and why people are doing things, the better able we'll be able to see when an informational asymmetry exists that we can take advantage of. Right? You got to come it up. You got to figure it out. You've got to come up with the trades. You've got to be an entrepreneur, right? We're always trying to come up with new things, new ways of looking at the market that could give us an edge, that are unique, completely unique to us. And then, of course, it's really hard to do all that all by yourself. So then we work together. So that's why we have the chat and we share with our thoughts on things and what works and what's not and so forth. So today has been a really rangy day. They kind of tested that seller's line again, but it's still just really, really stuck in the middle between them. And I haven't seen this as tight in a long time. Is a few ducks a day with hardly no drawdown good, or is the guy who makes a ton and loses a ton good? What is the longest drawdown that you've had in the past year, by the way, Ace? I'd say good is good entry and small risk, high reward trades. I'm usually that way. I just hasn't been that way today. I guess the issue is when it becomes rangy, it's a lot harder to get that high reward, right? I keep looking for this to like really run for me, and it's not doing it. I kind of want to see the low of the day. Well, it's 9:30. It's time for me to get going, isn't it? I just realized, I was like, oh, what time is it? Oh, no, we're okay. But I do need to get going. This is incredibly low volatility, though, man. I'm surprised that the VIX hasn't been, like, getting crushed today or something, because just so small. I have had a few hits. I moved my stop up a bit. That helps. Yeah, the issue I have, the thing is, when I backtest Ace's strategy, I can kind of get it to work, but it doesn't work nearly as well as when he does it. And I'm like, it doesn't take nearly as many trades for starters. So he actually doesn't completely follow his rules. The day of 3 tick stops losses seem to be over. No, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. Well, the day where you can hold a 4 tick stop, I think it'll come back. Next, if things continue to do well, then by a year from now, that's what we're going to be doing. And everybody will think you're a genius for being able to pull 8 ticks out, because that will seem like so much. Anyways, we have been able to get 10 ticks. I mean, the thing is, when I look at these, oh man, it's so bad today, but I have been able to get most of my trades to be able to go favorable. In fact, 16 ticks favorable. This one even went 16. But yeah, I'm off. We'll see. Next week, I don't think that this week I don't see myself really pushing it, but next week we'll tighten down again and see how it goes. I did take Ace's signal a couple of times today and made some off of it, but I wasn't taking the target off of him. I think Ace's real edge is he knows when to let them run and when not to. You think about that, Ace. Because the actual signal itself is kind of mediocre. It's the way that you get them to run sometimes, and you know when to take the profit when they don't. That seems to be so amazing. Okay. I'm yapping. It's time for me to go. I'll see you guys. Let's come and change the title today to be the slowest day ever. Oh man, what is this going to be? A low volatility. Low volatility takes hold. All right. Stay profitable, friends.